Explain to me the difference between a customer and a client.
So yeah, you want me to talk about repeat sales
Yes.
and someone that is a client for the long term versus a customer in the short term. I used to actually really think about clients and customers. And everyone's like, gotta call them clients, gotta call them clients. I really do not care what you call them. They give me money. And that's all that I care about. And I provide a good service so they keep coming back. And that's to your point, them coming back time and time again. And we talked about, when you're growing your business in terms of knowing what your close ratio is. Well, if you don't know what your attrition rate is, which is how many customers are leaving the back door, that's also going to be the determining factor of how large your business will become before it stops growing. And if you've been at the point where you're at 200, 300, 400,000 in annual revenue, like, man, I just can't get past this, I'm plateauing, there's a really good chance to your point, you've not turned customers into clients that are staying with you. And you have an attrition rate, which is a percentage of your customers that are leaving every single year. And no matter how many leads you pump into your business, they're leaving out the back door. And that's when customer service comes into play. Are you answering your phone? Do you get back to people on their email? Do you make sure that if there's something that's done wrong on someone's property, you're back to their property within 24 hours? That's because basic customer service is going to lead to a lower attrition rate.
I love that. Great answer. Blake, what do you got for customer experience? What can these guys do to keep customers, get customers, and keep them happy?
We're going back to Susie. And I really believe it. I really believe in going that extra mile. Answering the phone, and like as silly as that sounds, we all know that answer, and then we're busy and we don't do it. Like as an industry, the number one thing I get when somebody's calling me, a new customer, they're like, you're the only person that answered the phone. So it's so huge, just little things like that. When they have an issue, I want to figure it out. Even if it takes 20, 30 seconds, even if I don't offer that service, hey, we have a tree in the front yard, I don't do any tree work, I'll send you a buddy of mine that does the tree work. I gave my buddy, him business, but also that customer knows that she can call me with anything in the lawn and I'll get her an answer right then and there.
There you go.
So even if I can't offer that service, I can still give her an incredible customer experience because she doesn't have to go shopping for 30 minutes on Google, and just keep getting voicemails.
Paul, what do you got, brother?
Yeah, I want to share a story that re-emphasizes that point, Brian. I got a phone call from a gentleman. He lives in San Jose, California. I live in Atlanta, Georgia. And he's a CFO of a company that everyone in here's heard of and probably used. And big money. The guy's so rich that he has a vacation home in a fancy country club in Atlanta that he only goes to a few times a year, like when the Masters golf tournament is, and just to come golf. I mean, this guy's big money, okay? So the people that were doing his yard stopped coming for some reason, and his neighbors called him and said, hey, your grass is getting kind of long. So he immediately went to Google, typed in lawn care in Duluth, Georgia, and called the very first person that came up. Voicemail, didn't answer. Calls the second person, voicemail, doesn't answer. Calls me, and I think it was like 949 area code or whatever, and I get all these telemarketers, and I didn't answer, but I was like, I wonder who that's calling from California. So I immediately listened to the voicemail, and he says, hey, this is so-and-so, and I knew the name of the street because I work in the neighborhood. I was like, oh, those are nice houses. I call him back, he tells me the story, and next thing you know, I'm taking care of his property. After I do his yard, his next door neighbor was the defensive coordinator of the Atlanta Falcons. I end up picking up his yard. Next thing you know, I'm doing the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons, players on the Atlanta Falcons, all because I called somebody back that two other people had the opportunity to on this big fish and they didn't return his call. So
Wow.